call this meeting to order. Would you please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you remain standing, please? This past weekend, this community suffered a tragic event. The preliminary findings is that a 13-year-old committed suicide. And I think as a community and as a village, in conjunction with the school district, it's an opportunity for us to have a conversation. A conversation with our children, our grandchildren, and find out what is going on in their lives that takes a 13-year-old to that point. Something has to happen with social media and all the things that are happening in the world. And I know how these kids are being affected. We need to have this conversation. So at some near future date, myself along with a couple other community members are going to start a conversation with parents, the school district, any local agency that we can reach out to that can give us some guidance and help on this issue. We don't want this young person's life or death to be in vain. We need to take this as an opportunity to be better and be a better community, and to reach out and let's find out if we can affect some young person's life. So with that, I would like to observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll, please.
Trustee Polly.
Here.
Trustee Myson.
Here.
Trustee Bellinger. Here. Trustee Markowski.
Yes.
Trustee Feinmore. Here. Trustee Heschel.
Here.
Treasurer Razick.
Here.
Attorney Hayes.
Yes.
President Dilbert.
Here. Approval of agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda to include a discussion about the sidewalk project under unfinished business.
And under the closed session portion of the agenda, the closed session is going to be on an attorney's opinion. And you said under old business and new business?
I think it would go under old business since it was something that we talked about previously.
So we'll put it under unfinished business?
Yes, please.
Any others?
Can we do a closed session underneath health and employment?
Yes, that's where we typically put it. Yes, we will call from the floor in the closed session.
Can we also do that for all future agendas, since that's the way we practice it?
Yes, yes.
Should we put it under call from the floor or call from the table? In case there's any announcements that might be pertinent.
I don't have a problem with that either. We can put it at the call from the table. And we'll make note of that in the future. Any others?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we approve the agenda as amended. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on the agenda item. If I have none, we have a representative from Congressman Paul Mitchell's office who would like to speak briefly.
Good evening, Board. Yes, my name is Hillary Dubay, and I am Congressman Paul Mitchell's Community Outreach Coordinator. I come here this evening to introduce myself to you, as well as to make you aware of some of the services that we would provide to your constituents as well as ours. Those would be things like Veterans Affairs, Social Security issues, any type of immigration issues if people are struggling with their passports. Those are services that our office can help and aid your constituents as well as ours with any issues in regards to that. So I'm just here to extend a friendly hand. If we can help in any way, we're always happy to serve, and we're here. And in regards to the moment of silence that we had at the beginning of the meeting, I think that our office would love to be a part of that conversation as well. So if you could reach out to us, we would love to just be helpful, and we're here in the community with you, and we appreciate what you do, and are just here to help in any way that we can. So thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Any other public comment on the agenda? Approval of minutes, September 10th council meeting.
I just have a one note under President's item C. The motion in the minutes is the motion that I made, but I know President Dilbert amended it to include the questions concerning the scope of the work, and I know Trustee Meissner and Bunkowski were concerned about that as well. But that's not in there if you guys want that in there as well. But other than that, it's the motion that I need.
And we did raise that question to verify the scope of the work, and it is a two-part process that's going to take place Friday, Sandy? Friday?
What?
The fluoride standard, Friday.
Yes.
So are you offering language?
I'm okay with it as written because that was my motion, but if anybody wanted that to be added, I would just bring it to their attention.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for the September 10th council meeting as presented.
Support.
The topic moved and supported that we approve the council meeting minutes of September 10th as presented. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. September 19th, special council meeting.
I move that we approve the September 19th special council meeting minutes as presented.
Support.
18th.
It's been properly moved and supported that we approve the special meeting minutes as presented. Questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda.
A motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
It's moved and supported that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Any questions on the motion?
Just omitting code enforcement.
There was no report?
No.
Well, he's here tonight, so
Motion that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Support.
it's properly moved and supported that we approve the consent agenda as amended. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Prymore?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchick?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
President Silver?
Yes. President items. Last month, we heard a financial report from Yo and Yo, our auditors. One thing we were supposed to do last month was to accept it, which we didn't do. So we need to formally accept their audit report.
I make a motion to accept the audited report from Yo and Yo.
Support.
And probably moved and supported that we accept the audit report from Yo and Yo. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B is the village tax overpayment. Annually, CoreLogic overpays taxes to the village, and so we have to refund that money back to them. There were, as you can see in your memo, there was 554 payments made on parcels, which totaled $521,208.39, and they overpaid us by $6,381.03. So we need to approve this refund to CoreLogic.
If I could ask, just for context, CoreLogic, are they the electronic payment processing website?
No, Sandy will answer that question.
For the property owner?
No, they're a third party that pays mortgages, and when they collect your tax and stuff like that, they're the one that gives them the payment, so. Escrow.
And they have a
Escrow
habit
payments.
of,
I'm sorry,
of overpaying?
Yes,
by-
every year.
Seems like
That's not bad, actually. That's little.
a bad business thing to.
Well, you have things that, I mean, people will buy something and they will pay the taxes on it, and then they don't know that, it's on their mortgage payment, and they will end up overpaying.
Okay.
The resident will pay, CoreLogic will pay, and you have the overpayment. You usually
And
pay
some of this would have
CoreLogic
been
back.
reduced by the board of review and stuff of that nature.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve the refund of CoreLogic in the amount of $6,381.03.
Support.
And properly moved and supported that we refund to CoreLogic the amount of $6,381.03. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Prymore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchick?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
President Silver?
Yes. Item C, SYO, Windows 10 upgrade. Sandy?
It was brought to our attention at SYO that as of January 2020, Microsoft Office will not do any updates or packets or whatever the heck they do, so we have to upgrade all our desktops to 10. It's like $300 a desktop. So that's where the $4,028.57 comes from. The difference is the $158.27 for our tablet for the fire department. So I'm asking if we can go ahead and get those updated, upgraded, all that stuff for our desktops, before we are obsolete.
I'll make a motion to upgrade the Windows 10 SYO for $4,028.57.
Support.
The properly moved and supported that we approve the SYO Windows 10 upgrade in the amount of $4,028.57. Questions on the motion?
What version of Windows do we have currently?
7.
7?
I have a question in regards to the RAM upgrade. Just, was it that theme of like that tiny tablet, or the Lenovo tablet didn't have enough RAM for Windows 10, or just seemed like it was kind of like an auxiliary?
It is something that they take out on the field.
Okay, didn't have enough memory or just needed memory in general?
I don't
really?
know what you're saying on that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Pacoli?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Silbert?
Yes. Item D. We have an estimate from E-Code to upload our recent ordinance. And an estimated cost between $2,225 and $2,705.
I see ordinance 367, did we use that number?
I kept it in play, so we can separate file the village manager information, so we knew where it was. It would not, it was tabled, but it's not used. In their quote, it's just they have to know what 360 was. So that's all that's going on with
So we
that.
still have to pay for it.
No, we don't have to pay for it, it's just, it was in the description, I picked it up.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Sandy. Because the next 2 or 3 are you also. Any other questions on that?
So number 360 will basically be like a placeholder
Correct.
for the, okay.
And then is this all encompassing of, I think we had like the sign ordinance and all the
Every
other?
time we change the ordinance, but you guys has to go on our E-code, and they wash it and scrub it and stuff like that, and they put it up there. And I've been trying to keep it, but we've been going through ordinances like crazy, so
Yeah.
they wanted us to do it quarterly. It's already been a quarter, so
Why is 361 and 63 missing?
they're already in there for some reason. 361 was, 360 I knew, 361 I don't remember.
But they're already in there.
Yes,
Okay, all right.
yes. Any questions?
Any other questions?
I will make a motion to update the E-code, ordinances 360, 362, 364, through 367 at the estimated cost. The low end is $2,225, the high end is $2,705. And I'd like to make a note that on the invoice, or I'm sorry, the estimate at the bottom, it says if they receive authorization by 10/26, they will guarantee the low end of the estimate range. So the expectation is $2,225.
Support.
The properly moved and supported that we approve the ordinance update from E-Code. Any questions on the motion?
In the bulleted items that they mentioned for supplementation, they say 6 sets of supplemental pages. Is that something typically that we really need, or, I mean, is that maybe an extra cost that we could?
Say that again, supplement.
In the supplementation section, yeah, there's a bullet that says printing about 6 sets of supplemental pages. I don't, is that just?
We
like
keep
that?
books in here. We have a hard copy here.
I know we have the hard copy, but I mean, that'd be 1 copy, right? So,
Mm-mm.
oh, is it more?
There's more, yes. I can have one, building has one,
Okay,
clerk's supposed to have one, there's 3 that I know of for sure.
yeah.
We
Okay.
probably knock it down, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was any maybe cost involved with them having to reprint it.
Mm-mm,
Okay.
mm-mm. They just do by the section anyways, whatever
Okay.
they change, they don't do the whole book.
Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
Trustee Pacoli?
Yes.
President Silbert?
Yes. Item E. Resolution 19-011, the maintenance, extension, and improvement of OMI. This is the open Macomb interceptor drain. We just received a cost estimate of some repair work that's being done. This drain services a large portion of Macomb County and a large portion of Oakland County, but it runs through Macomb County. I think it's a total of a $12 million project.
What we're pointing into right now is the first phase of the $100 million project.
And our portion of that first phase is $65,262. And what we're asking is, if we adopt a resolution, we can pay this up front. And if we can avoid the interest. Or we could spread this out over 6 years.
First payment though is almost 30 grand, so it's almost half, so why wait? We have $4.5 million in the bank.
So we're suggesting that we just pay it up front and be done with it. But it takes a resolution that we will have to send down to the Drain Commissioner's office to make this happen.
Do we know when phase 2 is going to hit it?
No, it's
And we don't know.
$100 million, our total estimated percentage of the process is 0.5475, so that's $547,000 that we're going to be,
I'm not for it.
yeah, in the upcoming years, so. We're just fighting.
What's going on?
Very distracting. Across the table.
The spider.
doing some acrobats in there.
I believe that has a microphone on it.
Very distracting.
Sorry.
So,
Our recommendation is pass the resolution and pay up front to $65,262.
Make a motion that we approve resolution 19-11 to pay the OMID drain special assessment, $65,262.
Support.
the property moved and supported that we adopt resolution 19-011 so that we can pay up front our portion of the phase 1 of the old Oakland Macomb Interceptor drain special assessment in the amount of $65,262. Any questions on the motion?
This isn't directly related to the motion, but what, did they give a timetable on phase 2 and
No.
when is it coming down the pipeline?
They did say that the first payment, if we didn't do this resolution for the 30,000 would have been June 2020, so.
So we can do it tonight, get it done.
And
Come up with plans that soon stuff in the first place.
as we get those bills, we'll bring them all to council, and if we're able to pay them up front, because we don't want to incur any other bond issues.
Do you know how much interest we're actually saving by not doing?
It's not much.
It's $2.2 million, I think it was.
It's 2 point,
1.8 was the,
yeah.
$2,734.76.
Oh, okay. That's
Not a lot, but
Okay.
we have money.
I think that's worth noting, I mean, that to the residents that we're saving.
Any more questions?
Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes, but I wasn't the support.
Oh, you guys all sound the same.
Okay.
I'm so sorry then.
I just wanted to make sure that it was noted.
Okay, I'm sorry then. Sometimes I can't tell your voices apart. Then there was trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
I apologize for that. Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Silver?
Yes. Item E, item F. Resolution 19-012 is a resolution asking for permission to demo a house on Elk Street, or at least start the legal proceedings to demo a house on Elk Street. Mr. Share the podium. Mr. Bennett-Kirkhoff has been on this. He has issued multiple citations. Have you gotten any response from the property owner?
Zero. And this is one owner that we don't have a phone number to. Neighbors say it hasn't been occupied in about 10 years, so we don't have, we generally don't have phone numbers just for owners of properties. We have to kind of cross-reference different databases and stuff like that, but this one, I got nothing to go off of. I got nothing to go off of. Myself and some of the people in the office have done what we can to try to track down any phone contact information, so I got nothing. But we have sent numerous correspondence to this owner this year, but also last year. This year is when we kind of ramped up and looked towards demolition or whatever. So all the letters were geared toward that, as opposed to more so in the past, all the way back as far as 2013, we were getting them on tall grass and things of that nature, 2016, 17. But this year, from the get-go, it was more, the tone was set. March was just a warning, but it addressed multiple things around it. In June, they got cited again. That wasn't a warning, that was a violation notice. I think it was $500. We went with each different violation, and then it even still in the letter that was contained, said the building department may have more interest in this and whatnot. And then in July, the building inspector, Mr. Cowan, wrote basically what it was to, like, he condemned the building. He said it's uninhabitable, it's unsafe. He addressed numerous things such as the structural issues, standing water in the basement. The exterior opens up to the basement. There's standing water down there. It's got rotted. The foundation is rotting, has gaping holes in it where like a small deer could probably nestle its way in there. I mean, it's bad. It's real bad. Some of you, I sent pictures to them. It's kind of fitting for this time of year because it looks worse like than a haunted house. It's got broken windows, sagging roofs, sagging gutters. The siding is decaying, as well as like paint peeling everywhere. Like I said, neighbors say that nobody's lived there in 10 years. We've seen 5 different things this year about it. Like I said, back in July that was from the building inspector giving them 30 days. I wrote him another time last month as well, citing each and every other correspondence that we had. Like I kind of itemized it and everything, went over all the different violations and things that are unsafe about it.
Okay.
We've gotten nothing every single time.
We do know the property owner's name, and we do have a mailing address that I think is in
Shelby.
Shelby?
Yeah.
Is it Shelby? Yeah. If nothing else, this legal action will get his attention. Absolutely. Okay. So far, for the last couple of years, the DPW has been cutting the grass around the house, trying to keep it. But we do take, I think we charge $250 to cut, and then we put that on his taxes. And fortunately, his taxes are up to date.
So one thing that, to my knowledge, or whatever, talking with somebody at the county, at the treasurer's office there, it's kind of an unfortunate thing, but I almost don't want to say it in public, but they with property owners that claim that they're having problems paying their bills and whatnot, they do kind of payment plans. Every few years when it comes up for foreclosure, you say you need extra time and whatnot. They set a payment plan in place. You make one good payment toward that, and for all intents and purposes, kind of resets the clock in 3 more years. Sandy?
Yes.
Could you talk to, you said you were finding out more about the taxes on that Elk Street one? They haven't paid the village.
They haven't paid the village since 2011. We just looked up on Macomb County and they haven't paid, he's been paying there.
It goes to the county once he doesn't pay the village. And then that's when payment plans come into place.
Yeah.
And there's been extensions through that.
But his property has not come up on the foreclosure list because,
Right.
so he's staying far enough ahead of it.
In December, they have a list of the preliminary ones that might go towards foreclosure if they don't pursue, payment plans, stuff like that. And it's come on that list, the long list, but it never makes it
But
legal.
it's that March 31st magical cutoff date that he.
Right. So he knows.
He knows the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows the game. Like I said, so I would strongly suggest that we adopt this resolution, give the attorney go ahead to start legal action for demolition of this property.
And may I say, I haven't seen the resolution, I don't know how it's worded, but the house is bad enough in and of itself, but there are 2 sheds in the rear that are also, if not even worse than that.
Mr. President, we would do everything on the property.
And we already have support from our village attorney on the wording of the resolution and everything. We're all good.
Yes, we reviewed it. Everything is fine. We filed these in circuit court because you're destroying the property, just so everybody knows this isn't a district court action.
When was the last contact we had with the property owner?
To my knowledge, I've not seen anything, and as far back as I can see a recorded correspondence going out toward them, it's 2013.
And what was the first communication that we attempted to deliver that mentioned demolition?
Demolition, I got, July is when we mentioned the demolition, but like I said, it was alluded to very much, it was alluded to as a possibility in June, and then before that was just violations in and of themselves. So June was mentioned as a possibility, July was worded, that was actually the building inspector himself, because it was about demolition, I didn't want to be the one saying that. The building inspector, that's when he jumped in and he made it pretty point blank, he gave him 30 days, we got nothing, and then I reinforced it, sent it out last month, September 18th.
And if we approve this resolution, it goes to circuit court, the property owner will have the ability to address this issue?
Yeah, he'll be properly served, yes.
Okay.
Have we attempted contact at the registered landline for his principal residence, which is the 5700 West Utica Road
Road is.
in Shelby Township? That's the property that's registered under his social security number as principal residence. Okay.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 19-012, resolution to approve circuit court action seeking to demolish all buildings located at 30701 Elk, New Haven, Michigan, 48048.
Support.
It's properly moved and supported that we adopt resolution 19-012, supporting the demolition of all buildings located at 30701 Elk. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Meissen,
Yes.
trustee Pankowski,
Yes.
trustee Capoli,
Yes.
trustee Ballinger,
Yes.
trustee Pridmore, trustee Hashek,
Yes.
president Zilbert.
Yes. Item G. Victoria Street. Mr. B is going to give us an update on where we're at on that eyesore.
So as just a quick little history of it, back in 2015, this board approved a lot split. It was once one property, it's now two properties. Driving by, you can't tell. They actually share a long driveway. The property line is right in the middle of the driveway. It leads back to a gate or a fence, and behind the fence is a big old improperly used and zoned storage yard. They've been using it as a storage yard, an open, unfenced and unscreened storage yard for outdoor building materials, debris, some of it looks like garbage. You got trailers, vehicle storage. I mean, we're talking large trailers, we're talking small vehicle trailers, boat trailers, things of that nature. Things like garbage, debris, there's a dumpster and stuff back there and whatnot. And it goes all the way back. So it's a relatively large lot, and it's wide open. There's no fencing, there's no tall trees that block the view of anything. And again, the property line that now divides these two properties runs straight through the middle. And again, there's no dividers. There's nothing in real life that you can look at and say there's a line. So if you drive back there, you pull in the driveway, it looks like it's one big parcel. It's not. It's two separate parcels. I don't know if I need to say the address, but in any case, both of these parcels, the rear of the lots back up to what is actually the rear/western side of Pembroke subdivision, which is, obviously they're trying to build houses there. They are now building houses there, even wrapping around to that portion of the street. Without speaking for somebody else, without them having put it in writing, I can say that the conditions on these two properties that are improperly storing things is having a negative effect on home sales of the Pembroke subdivision. So we've contacted them, and like I said, 2015 is when the split happened. Mr. Cowan, our building inspector, has been on them very persistently since the very day that it got split. In 2016, he started hammering them with letters denying them a certificate of occupancy, denying them a special land use, telling them they had significant deficiencies, telling them that he's observed them having putting in structural improvements and whatnot that aren't to code. Repeatedly addressing this. I mean, there's 7 or 8 correspondences. He's been very thorough. He has one that's like size 12 font, cite probably like 20 different lines of different violations and whatnot. So they basically haven't listened at all. They early on, 2016, 2017, they did give some sort of correspondence, and like I said, building inspector Cowan repeatedly told them that they had deficiencies, they're violating, and if you drive by, if you're in the back of Pembroke and you're looking out, you can tell that they haven't done anything. And in fact, they added to it as these communications kept coming to them. They kept storing more. Last year, we did take them to district court, to my awareness. From that time frame to up until now, there really hasn't been any visible improvement. There's been no improvement until about a month ago. I had an in-person encounter with somebody who's a representative of, or works for, or assists the owner of the one lot that we've kind of focused on, because they're a building company of sorts. And I kind of notified them, hey, we're thinking about elevating this to circuit court level. Oh, no, we're going to get on it. Well, they have. Since that time, and about a week from that time frame, a good share got cleaned up. But when I say cleaned up, it got moved from that parcel to the other parcel that got split. Much of it. Some of it has been removed, but much of it has just been shifted over. And so what you have now is a parcel that, in all essence, is used as one parcel, but it's two separate ones, and they're basically just shifting all these trailers and building materials and whatnot, shoving them in a corner and things of that nature. Yes, they've gotten some out of there, but not much. And this has been going on since 2016. So, again, they improved it for about a week, and then since that week, for the last 3 weeks or so, nothing. I haven't been able to notice any improvement. I took a picture, I should send it to President Dover today. There's 4 trailers, there's a tractor or something out there, there's a dumpster out there, and there's a slew of building materials, again, off on the one parcel. The one part, one of it is getting relatively cleaned up. They got a dumpster, they got a tractor, and I think they have one small trailer and maybe one miscellaneous pile of stuff, but they've shifted it all onto the other one. I would suggest, if possible, in circuit court to try to address this matter with both property owners at one time, if that's a possibility, because I have a feeling that they're just going to keep pointing at each other and saying, well, that's his. In essence, they already have. I've gotten an email back just about a week and a half ago, and that's what the one owner said. Well, yeah, I know that stuff came onto my property, but it's not mine. It's not mine. This is only this trailer is mine. Well, yes, but you've allowed that to get shifted over. You originally owned the property, you split it in two, gave it to this person. They completely thumbed their nose up, and it's looked like a landfill. All of a sudden, they're under pressure, so now they're just shifting it over there. So I would really suggest pursuing both of these owners if possible.
Mr. Addis, if this is in fact in district court, is there a time frame? Is there an expiration in district if there's no resolution? Or can you request
Practically no. Cases can wallow in district court forever, which is why many times we've made the recommendation to go to circuit court. The reason for that is that the circuit court is closely watched by their bosses in the Supreme Court, and they put time limits on cases. Now, they can run over, but at least someone's watching. I wish I could say so many months it'll be over. That's just not true. They can lag there forever. To his suggestion, can you sue them both? If there's merit, yeah, you can sue both at the same time. And that's the old, having pointed at each other in court. It doesn't work so well. It works at the administrative level. It doesn't work so well when you get depositions and testimony and a judge that wants it off his docket or her docket. So there is no, it can lay there. And you know this from the past. We've had cases lay in that district court forever. And if they don't give you a trial date or he doesn't make a ruling, you just sit there.
Can we request that a case in district court be, what the terminology is, closed?
Yeah, we can just move it. We file in circuit court and dismiss it in district court and move it up. and then get judges that are under pressure to put an end to their cases.
Questions on the
More
board?
a statement more than a question, but I just fully support well, I guess, yeah, I support this motion just because, you know, when Pembroke first was going under construction, I'll never forget, one of the first times I drove through the subdivision, my wife and I were like, oh, what's going on over there? And we thought it was actually a new building because there was just so much debris and building material and stuff over there. And then we get over there and we realize, oh, that's not even part of the subdivision, that's just some other property that backs up to the sub. So, you know, I think eyesore is an understatement.
Now, apparently one of the businesses no longer occupies one of the parcels.
Okay, so originally in 2015, it was an individual, many, do you want me to name names? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I don't care.
Mr. Drake, Mr. Drake is the property owner, and he split it.
Right.
Um,
But the other property went to SHD.
Yeah, and
They're no
and that's
longer-
kind of like a legal name, but more commonly known as Fenton Excavating, I think.
Yeah, but he also ran a fence company.
Right, and a fencing company and whatnot.
And then he was subletting part of the building.
Yeah.
And so there was all kind of.
And it's all back to those letters. I mean, I don't know how much detail you want to be, I could talk to you for an hour, but.
But that property owner isn't there anymore?
No, that they are, and I could go further into that, but that's a whole different.
But they are there.
Yes, but they probably wouldn't acknowledge it as such.
What is it, the militia?
We suspect, and, you know, we've had conversation as to what, that there is a grow operation.
You want, one of the days when I went to go pin it to the door, you know, laminate sleeve, it was zip tied to the door one. As I did so, you could hear fans on the other side, industrial side, not a little oscillating desk fan. I'm talking, you could hear some serious fans going on, and there was an odor. And you know, I'm in that line of work in my regular day job. There was an odor. So.
I just have one question. So we previously issued fines?
No. So since it was going, like I said, since 2016 is when I see records of building inspector, Mr. Cowan, speaking with him on it. It was more in his court, and I let him, you know, I've only been doing this since March 1, and I've touched base with him a few times to try to get some updates and whatnot. And even getting updates was a little, other than the written records and whatnot, I got written records, but as of the current status to it and whatnot, it was difficult, and I don't know if he even knew at times where it stood. Like Mr. Attorney has just said, it can sit there in district court for some time, and then maybe sometimes, I don't know, get lost track of or something like that. I only decided to jump on this more so, I mean, I sent a couple emails just asking kind of the status in person and whatnot, but I only actually jumped on this and actually kind of requested it head in this direction for the last couple months. So up to this point, as far as I can see from all the written correspondences, it was just letters saying you're not in compliance, stop doing what you're doing. You're not in compliance, stop doing what you're doing. But no fines as far as I can see.
And were there end dates, like?
There were.
This date?
I have many.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, there's many correspondences, and yes, there are timeframes.
They're in violation of a number of building codes, and they never received a CFO to occupy the structure. And we know for a fact that interior walls have been built and moved and never been inspected, never had plan approval or anything like that. So there's a number of violations over there.
So we've never actually cited the property for any violations?
Just from a building inspector, which you know, back then, we didn't have in place the, what do you call our new code?
Municipal civil infraction.
Yeah, our civil infractions weren't in place, so he was just going as a building inspector, citing them for, you know, not getting plan approval for their new partitions and you know, whatever they were trying to do in, you know.
There were letters that were very clear. I mean, in essence, you would call it a cease and desist letter. You are not in compliance, you're, this and that, you are not to occupy this building until you get a certificate. There were very clear instructions, you are not to be using this building. And, 6 months later, something, you have another letter saying the same thing. Things of that nature, so.
And so now, have we already taken this property to district court? And the request is to escalate it to circuit?
Yes, yes.
So this is something, when was it that we took to district?
It's been over a year.
Over a year. Okay, so that's what we're talking about, it just sits there.
So tonight is not discussion only?
No, oh, it should have been action also. I'm sorry.
Despite what the agenda says, you can always move to action if that's the board's wishes.
Mr. Ennis, can you tell us, did we do our due diligence as a village that it's not going to get pushed back to us?
Yes, we have.
And you asked me, so I'll tell you, yes, you have. All right.
This has been going on way back, and we even had a promise from the homeowner. We met with him and his attorney. We gave them a written list of violations. They promised they would address them all, and they have yet to address any of them, and that's been over a year before we even went into court.
So you're looking for a motion just to move this Victoria Street property forward to circuit court,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So I will make a motion to move forward with the Victoria Street property. Do I need to get a little bit more technical with that address? Let's see. 58680 Victoria and 58660 Victoria to circuit court.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported that we allow the attorney to file in circuit court action against these two parcels of land. I don't have the address in front of me. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Malinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Heschek?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
President Silver?
Yes.
Which agency would any agency verify that grow operation is for 5 patients, 12 plants each? I think that's permitted.
Yeah, there's a fine line that we're trying not to cross. We've had some minor discussions as to are they growing because they're a caregiver, and so we're going to ask the sheriff department
To verify that he has the right number of plants for the right amount.
Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
We already did that.
Oh, call roll already. My bad.
I confused you.
Yeah, you brought me back.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Item H, just an update on our MDOT grant. We met with MDOT 2 weeks ago. There's a very specific steps that we have to take, which are all encouraging. Myself, Sandy, Marcus, Ahmed, and the MDOT rep was very helpful. He was very clear in what we needed to do to secure the grant, and so we will be taking those steps and having everything in place so that when spring comes, we should have our bids awarded and the whole bid, so we can be early on the list. And the fact that the state budget, the amended state budget, did not affect this grant, so that money is still in play. Item I, Housing Commission. The Housing Commission has a vacancy, and I would like to recommend that we appoint Tina Nagy to the vacant Housing Commission spot.
I move that we appoint Tina Nagy to the Housing Commission.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported that we appoint Tina Nagy to the Housing Commission. Any questions on the motion?
Is she aware of the appointment?
Huh?
Is she aware of the appointment?
Oh, absolutely.
Making sure.
I wouldn't do that to her.
I think she's a very good person for that.
Yeah, and they want to get involved, and I was particularly looking for, while the Housing Commission is only a 5-member board, 2 of the members are residents, and I didn't want another resident. I definitely wanted somebody outside looking in. So, I think Tina would be good. Questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Payment of bills.
I move that we pay the bills in the amount of $165,900.75. Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we pay the bills in the amount of $165,900.75.
Who got the support on that?
I will defer to trustee Bunkowski.
You didn't say it first, so we'll be putting this in support. Thank you.
Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Burkholly?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Zilbert?
Yes. Mr. Rossi.
Total village cash assets of $4,634,770.48.
Make a motion that we accept and file the treasurer's report.
Support.
Been moved and supported that we accept and file the treasurer's report. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Madam Clerk would like her November agenda items by the 2nd of November. The month of October was a strange start to this month. Sandy and I would sit down, we were going over the agenda, putting it together. I didn't realize that, my God, the first is right now, and the council meeting is, it's like, you're gonna have the 13th, 14th, you got the 1st and the 8th. And I'm like, ooh, okay, we gotta get this together. Unfinished business, sidewalks.
So this is more of a discussion item than it is an action item. It was brought to attention on social media that the sidewalk project that we kicked off in August, there were a number of residents that were surprised by the letters that they received. In one case that I had as an example, a resident had originally received the brochure back in 2018 about the sidewalk repair project, and they had noticed that we had marked 2 flags of sidewalk in front of their house. Fast forward to August of this year, and we came back and said that we were going to replace all 66 feet of their sidewalk instead of just the 2 flags. At the August meeting, we had, I actually went back and reviewed the video, and Trustee Piccoli had specifically asked how long we were going to give the residents to go ahead and get their own quotes and whatnot. And the response was 30 days. In this case, we sent the letter out on the 16th, and the project started on the 21st. So, although what's done is done, and obviously I'm not in disagreement that the homeowners ultimately and unfortunately are responsible for their sidewalk. I'd like to ask that, moving forward with this project, that we take a little bit slower of an approach, and maybe a little bit more consideration into the impact of the residents. I'd ask that moving forward with the sidewalk project, that we definitely have a clear person that's responsible for the project as a point of contact. My understanding, the residents that received the letters had made numerous inquiries into the village and received no answer, and grew quite frustrated. It'd be good to have at least one person that they can, you know, I don't want to have that person be inundated with receiving calls and voicemails and everything, but considering the financial burden that we're putting on the residents, I think that we at least owe it to them to have somebody that's responsible that can answer the phone in relation to this. And additionally, you know, I know, at least in this specific scenario, we were kicking it off in August, and I know that you know, we're kind of against the gun as far as how much time we have to kick off the project, get the sidewalk, you know, torn out, replaced, and all of that before, you know, fall hits and the colder weather. But I would just ask moving forward that we really extend them the guarantee that they can at least have 30 days to get quotes and understand. And then lastly, you know, I would just like to make sure that, you know, and again, I'm just taking the word of the residents, so maybe there was a discrepancy there, but they said that they only had the 2 flags of sidewalk that were marked with X's. And I know that we replaced that whole section because of the width of the sidewalk. So I would just ask that moving forward, we make it very clearly visible before we send out letters or give them that opportunity that, you know, these are the flags that are going to be replaced, so that they're aware of it. Because in this case, the homeowner said that she received the brochure, she saw the 2 flags were X, she thought, oh, no big deal, it's going to be a couple $100 to replace a couple of flags of concrete, it's not going to be that substantial of an amount. Then they were slapped with a, you know, $3,200 bill. In retrospect, you know, obviously I feel bad for them. I understand there's nothing that, you know, it's their responsibility ultimately, and we did at least provide them the ability to have a very long payback period. But unfortunately, I mean, it is a burden that we're putting onto the residents. You know, with the
Who should bear that burden?
The resident, I believe. I'm not disagreeing with that.
And the fact that we sent out letters in 2018, so you don't think that they had enough time to...
We sent out the letter in 2018 for 2 flags that they had marked on their sidewalk.
Did they repair those 2 flags?
No, but they only thought it was going to be a few $100 for 2 flags, so they thought, no big deal, I'll take the village's savings.
Well...
So when we decided to replace more than 2, we failed to notify that resident
And
that the bill would be much more substantial, give them an opportunity to subcontract it themselves.
They were given an advance quote as to what their portion was going to be.
Their quote that they received was dated August 16th, and the project kicked off on the 21st.
So they had 5 days to...
No, there was a separate letter that gave them a start date.
Of August 21st.
Yes. That gave them
Oh, when was that sent out?
guesstimate start date.
They received the letter for the project starting on August 21st. They received the letter on August 16th. So, you know, again, I'm not disagreeing with the ultimate result. I'm just asking that we need to be, you know, I'm really asking that we be more
So
concerned.
social
what
media-
was done, it was how it was done.
Exactly. It wasn't what, it was how.
Was that was probably just the one instance where it exceeded what we thought was...
Well, I think all of the residents along Main Street, we ended up, because of the width of the sidewalk, we ended up doing their entire sections.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't to code.
It wasn't the code. The sidewalk in those 2 blocks was dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, I could probably find a word much stronger than that.
Yeah. And again, I'm not disagreeing with the what's.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, the sidewalks were done, they look nice. I've gotten 999 compliments, and to date, because, you know, I mean, my phone number is on the village website. I have yet to receive a phone call.
The resident claimed that they had made numerous calls.
I have yet to receive a phone call. And every resident, those 8 residents, they all know me. We grew up together.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I see most of them every day. And out of those 8, 2 have came in and paid in full.
Yeah, the resident.
Okay,
the
so
resident-
social media, which you are
Yep.
a large part of, and in my opinion, your responses keep it going, okay? And which I can't stop you But talk as a private resident, okay? Most of the comments on that post were not those residents.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
Didn't live in that 2-block stretch. Two of them did.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I will agree with that. But,
So-
you know, from a transparency standpoint, I feel that.
We are transparent. Transparency is a non-issue. It was no secret what we intended to do. We brought it to this table, we presented it, and we carried through with it, okay? Transparency was a non-issue.
Well, and maybe not transparency in this regard, but I would request that moving forward, any sidewalk projects that are brought to the table, that we have a delineated, or a bulleted list of how much is the actual impact to each of the residents or each of the parcels that are affected. So that we know exactly how
And
much.
so we bring a project, and it says it's gonna cost Jessica $3,000, but Jessica can't afford $3,000, but the fact that her sidewalks are a danger. So how do we address that?
By letting the resident know ahead of time they're gonna be on the hook for 3,000.
And that's exactly what we
That's
did.
my point. Well,
That's
we
exactly
let
what
them
we
know
did.
on the 16th, and the project was going to be starting on the 21st.
I think we have documentation contrary to that.
You can make any timetables in the motion for future projects too.
Certainly can.
So
And
if you
and even
take
our
that
ordinance
into
spells
consideration.
out necessary timetables,
Yeah.
okay? And I think we met our ordinance requirement. Because, you know, there's a much bigger question that is gonna have to be asked and answered. And that question is simple. Do we want this village to be walkable and safe?
Yeah. Well, I don't disagree with that.
Okay, or do we want it to look like,
We're not arguing that the
Yeah.
sidewalks need to be
Okay.
replaced. What we're saying is proper notification.
we did proper notification?
They were advised that they were gonna have to pay $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Over a month in advance?
Yes, ma'am.
But there's nowhere in this original piece, I'm not trying to be on either side of the fence here, but I just want to make sure we're right from the beginning. There's nowhere on this piece that says we marked your sidewalks. So it's
Isn't
open.
that just the general
Yeah, that's the
information
general.
sheet?
This was your original notice, and this piece of paper says you have 3 choices. You can let us fix it, you can find
I know
someone.
what that says.
So this was their original notice, is that correct?
That was one of the notices that went out in 18.
That was not a notice for this project though.
There wasn't a
No,
To make that clear.
That was a community-wide notice.
That was
Yeah.
the sidewalk repair
So
program.
so that's leading to the question of the flagging, is where I'm going with this in.
Okay.
So how, moving forward, how can we simplify this as far as flagging?
No, we won't flag, we'll just send out a letter. There's 3 streets, in the village where large projects will potentially take place. Well, actually 2 now. Okay. The rest of them are just simple, yes. Section here, section there. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, this was isolated then, this was.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's partially isolated. All I'm asking is just moving forward, we make sure that we really respect that 30-day at least notice with the actual dollar amount before the project begins, so they do have ample amount of time to get a quote.
And it gives them something to compare the quote to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say again?
And it will give something for them to compare the quote to. So if I have a contractor that can do it for $500 less,
Sure.
And good luck to them finding one guy to do 2.
this is for the whole village.
Good luck.
If squares,
So you'll never find anybody to beat the ball price, but.
if I had my own sidewalk marked with only two flags, I would have blown off the brochure as well. I would have said, oh, no big deal, a couple $100, no
Well,
problem.
yeah. And, you know,
That's what I can do.
and that's the history of a lot of people, that we just blow it off.
Well, but rightfully so, with it being a few $100, and then if you get a bill for thousands, that's a big discrepancy.
Well, it's got their attention. And I'm certainly one not gonna hide behind it. Okay, I'm upfront. I think It makes Main Street look 1,000% better.
Absolutely, and I'm not disagreeing with that, I just, again, it's not the what, it's the how.
Now, different question, kind of on the same subject. Do we have to replace sidewalks down Gratiot to meet the new, are there,
We are replacing, we are going to 5 foot only in situations where we're doing the whole block.
okay.
That way we don't have a 3 and a 4 and a 5 or
Because
a
there's
4
some
and a
older
5.
sidewalks in Gratiot that are smaller.
There are areas that say Clark Street, for instance, because there's a retaining wall, there's some other things there that when we get around to doing Clark Street will probably be all 4 foot because it just would take too much changing the grade to accommodate 5 foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the code as far as the width? I mean, is there a set code of what it has to be? I mean, if we do it at 4 feet, are we still in compliance?
Well, I think we're in compliance, because when you come back with 5 and 4, I mean, if 4 exists and we're replacing one flag at 5, I think that creates a hazard,
Sure.
okay? So I think sidewalks should be consistent,
I just don't know if it opens us to any vulnerability with,
Yeah, does our ordinance allow for consistency?
Well, we haven't gotten to that point yet.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, then maybe we need to
That's where I was going with it.
amend the ordinance so that we have that discretion, because if you have 60 feet of 4 foot sidewalk and, we're only gonna replace one flag, I mean, I think it would look better to come back with 4 foot instead of having this extra foot.
And there's a couple pedestrian bridges that would probably have to be changed to accommodate 4 feet, so.
Attorney Addis, from a legal perspective, I mean, if we were to just replace that 4 foot, that doesn't open us up to anything.
You want to, no, it doesn't open you up, but if you want to be consistent, you should probably pass an ordinance and make it all consistent. Right now, if you're making sidewalks safe, you're on the right side of the law. I don't care if they're 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, or 6 feet. But if you want to be completely on the right side of the law, you want to get an ordinance that makes everything consistent. And that doesn't take any time or money to do that.
Okay. Anything else on sidewalks?
That's all I mean.
My daughter-in-law thanks the village. She can walk her dog, and her dog don't have to worry about tripping over a bad spot. New business. Ways and means recommendations. We have a couple things here. We have to adopt the rate, the new trash rate. We adopted the contract, but the actual rate, well, the contract is $15.60.
1595. Oh, the contract.
The contract is $15.60. We have tacked on 35 cents administrative. So the actual rate we are recommending is $15.95 for the current year.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 368 to amend our trash and rubbish rates.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported that we adopt ordinance 368, establishing our garbage, our trash rates. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Ballinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchick?
Yes.
President Dilbert?
Yes. Ordinance 369 to amend ordinance 304, which establishes our water rate for 2019. And what this does, Sandy, come on up, please.
I'm on cheat sheet.
This just, it redistributes what we're actually charging right now.
Correct.
Okay.
So I recommended to the Ways and Means that we take our water debt down from 1166 to 850. That's a difference of $3.16. And what I recommend is that we take our readiness to serve from 343 to 659, moving that 316 over to the readiness to serve. So it's basically a wash, but it will help us right now we are collecting almost $300,000 for our water debt. We only need like $204,000 in our average. So I need to get that $100,000 over to cover our operating costs. So with this move here, we will be able to, $1 generates $24,000 a year. So this will help us cover our operating costs. We are, with the water tower, water main break, and all that stuff, we're going to be, I estimated with the water tower, $33,000 in deficit. So, and we don't know what the water main break is going to cost us yet. So, with this moving over into the residence serve, we will have this money. We start now. We will all cover those costs and not have so much of a deficit in water. So, my recommendation was to, like I said, move 1166 to 850 and change the residence serve to 659. That should generate 24 is.
Bottom line, it allows us to better set our budget.
Set our budget so that we can cover our operating costs.
We are not reliant on residents using water.
Correct.
Okay, this is a fixed amount.
Causing a fixed cost. When we look at our water bill, our fixed cost is $20,300 a month. Our MCF is $6.35, I think it is. Something, $6.35, $6.96, something around that thing. So what we're trying to accomplish is to be able to cover that fixed cost and our operating cost moving forward with the readiness to serve. And that's what our goal is to do with that.
So, to the residents, these three items currently cost them $20.03.
Correct.
And it will still cost them only $20.03.
Basically, yes.
It was mentioned at the Ways and Means Committee that this is a similar model to what the Great Lakes Water Authority is doing to us, creating a wash, but more fixed costs and
And
less
some
commodity.
communities charge $12 for readiness to serve, $13, so it's not an ungodly amount.
Not a bad amount.
It's not.
Yeah.
And of course, in September, and we'll revisit, make sure that we're on track, to make sure that we're covering all our operating costs and our.
Most of our neighboring communities, this is how they do it. They have a high readiness to serve rate. So what's your pleasure, or do you have any questions for myself or Sandy?
I have one more comment. On the ordinance, we are in the process of changing this water ordinance. We know that some of the monthly fees are here. We're just trying to get that first one for the 3/4 inch put in place so that we can start collecting cash. And then moving forward, we're almost done with that guy right there. We're almost done on getting the main water ordinance completed so that we can move forward with this too. Because if you look at the readiness to surcharge, one, it just says $4.81, so that is not correct. So.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
So I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 369 to amend ordinance 304 for the water rate increase. And we're really just washing, correct? I just want to reiterate that.
It's a readiness to serve increase, not a water increase.
Yeah, I'm reading what's on my agenda, so.
Yeah, it's a readiness to serve, not
Okay.
water
Yeah.
increase.
Yeah. That would be fine. We can say readiness to serve.
This is intended to adjust readiness to serve and debt service charges rates.
Questions on the motion?
Well, can we have something to say?
No.
When are the
No.
Okay.
Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
I'm sorry, does someone support that? Okay, I apologize. Thank you. Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pymore?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Heschek?
Yes.
President Zilbert?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 3, who would like to take that one on?
I did some homework on it. Right now, our accountant, Sandy, is doing a terrific job. She saved us thousands and thousands of dollars over the years, but she was also given additional duties as an office manager. I went on the MML website, did my homework to see if there were any combination salaries out there in other communities that combined accountant and office manager, and there weren't. Most of the smaller communities outsource their accountants. The office managers made anywhere from a low of $22,000 a year to $61,500 a year. But Sandy, again, is assuming office duties as well as what she's doing now. So we came up with, the Ways and Means Committee came up with an equitable figure where her base salary would be as an accountant, but she would also receive additional financial remuneration for taking on an additional position, but at a cost savings to the village. So Ways and Means is recommending that for the position of office manager, she be reimbursed for an additional $500 a month with a performance bonus review December 1st if the village employee agreed to only a wage reopener on her contracts. This will cost us $6,000 for an office manager, where again, the low figure that I saw for a community our size was $21,000. So I think Ways and Means, and I think I forwarded everyone copies of the minutes, and I apologize for the delay in that. Ways and Means is recommending the pay increase with a performance review in December.
Is that your motion?
Okay, I make a motion. I make a motion that we approve an additional $500 a month for the position of office manager.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported that we approve the additional $500 a month to our accountant office manager. Any questions on the motion? I'm going to throw a little tidbit out there just so you know how I support this. Recently, Sandy negotiated. She had 2 competing companies going at each other on our phone service. Our phone service was costing us $1,200 a month, and it currently costs us $700 a month. So she saved us over $500 a month just on our phone service, and this just took place 2 months ago. So it's these little small things that we don't see. I mean, I see them because I have to hear her, you know. But it's these little small things that she constantly is paying for herself, and I think that's very important to recognize. So, question on the motion.
If I can make a statement too. I mean, personally, since Sandy has started with the village, I mean, she's, at least for me, she's the go-to person for everything and anything. Any questions that I ever have, I'm always reaching out to Sandy, and she's always willing to answer, and you know, she's very helpful on everything. So I mean, you know, at least from the standpoint of everything that she takes on and all that she does for the village, I mean, can't thank you enough. We definitely appreciate it.
Don't get her head too big. I got to know what on a daily basis.
You're not going to give her money, you're going to give her the big yes.
Question on the motion. Roll, please.
Trustee Pymore?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Heschek?
Yes.
Trustee Pacoli?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
President Zilbert?
Yes. Item D, code enforcement officer pay increase. I am recommending that we increase Mr. Van der Kerkhoff's pay from $500 a month to $750 per month. I think we all recognize the fact that he's out there pounding the pavement. And he's making things happen, and you can see the difference. You can see the difference. And so I would like to recommend that we increase his pay from $500 to $750 per month.
Quick question, how long has the code enforcement pay been at 500? Several years?
Several years.
Okay, so we're catching up with inflation.
Yeah, several years. Probably 5 or 6, if not longer. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think from I mean, not that it necessarily goes into consideration of the salary, but I think the code enforcement officer has brought in a lot more. I mean, they've proven their weight in gold lately. I don't know if we have a rough figure on.
No. Good question, though. No.
I motion to increase the code enforcement officer's pay from $500 to $750 a month.
Support.
Been probably moved and supported that we increase the code enforcement officer pay from $500 to $750 per month. Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Burkholder?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pymore?
Yes.
President Zillmer?
Yes. We are currently working on a sewer rate analysis. We had shared with the Ways and Means Committee that our sewer rates are low. And I say that because we discovered some minutes from 2013 where a recommendation was made by Plant Moran that our rate be established at about 50 cents higher than what it currently is, and it was never adopted. You got the sheet?
I'm
Right
trying
there.
to see if it's on here.
It's on here.
Glance.
Yeah, that's the sheet.
Should be at the bottom.
Is it at the bottom?
The current sewer rate is $4.26, and I think their recommendation
Oh,
was
$5.47.
was $5.47. So it's over $1 less than what it should have been, and which is kind of contributed to our sewer deficit, and the fact that the general fund paid some bonds on behalf of the sewer department. So there's some catch up that we're going to have to do, and we certainly are not going to be able to do this in one fell swoop. It's going to be something that we really, and that's why we're really crunching the numbers to see what the first recommendation is going to be. The preliminary thought is that we bring our sewer rate up to our current water rate, which I think is $4.94. That our first increase would be up to that $4.94 mark. And then annually we'll have to visit it and see so we can finally close that gap and get our sewer department out of deficit.
Yeah, at the Ways and Means Committee, we asked that this be delayed until January because of the increase in the trash rate. But also, and Sandy, again, thank you for coming to the meeting. We were also talking about doing maybe a hybrid plan, where some of the burden would go to the residents, maybe some to the general fund, and it is allowable under GASB to use it, but again, we'd have to get hard numbers, see what the shortage is. We want to minimize the impact on the residents, but we also want to be fiscally responsible with the general fund. So I appreciate Sandy working on this.
Yes, there's still a lot of work that has to be done on it. So we don't have a recommendation, and we won't bring it till the first of the year.
I have a question on that. So I'm broken record, but sewer debt, hopefully that can be taken into consideration in correlation with the sewer rate as well. How much the residents are paying towards the sewer debt per month. So, you know, with the water rate, we took the water rate down, or I'm sorry, we took the water debt down to compensate for what we did with the readiness to serve. I'm hopeful that maybe we can do the same with lowering the sewer debt to compensate, so maybe it'd be a net zero impact to the
Do you
residents.
think we should schedule a workshop in November?
Just throwing it out there, I don't know if it's even feasible, I don't know if it's.
Everything is being considered,
Right,
but we won't do something that is gonna, the water debt was in a much healthier position.
okay,
And that's why we were able to
right.
lower that and move that money over to residents to serve. The sewer debt is not in as healthy position. The last thing I think any of us want to do is to give the residents something and then 6 months later say, I need some of that back.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're going to be very conservative in our proposal so that we don't ever have to go and ask for something back.
Yeah, absolutely, and I understand that.
Speaking of which, there's an article that we were given.
Yes.
Is there any, does this have anything to do with,
That comes into play as far as our sewer debt because the county, they're going to be refinancing a couple bonds, and there's a small benefit to the village.
well, they haven't done anything yet, they're just in the beginning stages?
Yeah, they're in that process. I think there's 2 bonds. Some of the money will reduce our actual debt payment, and then some of the money will be held by the county for future improvements. Call from the floor.
Thank you. My name is Myra Melissa Couch. I live in Amherst subdivision. Several weeks ago, our water pressure went down, and several of us thought our water was shut off. We were here, or we had our home built. We were some of the first to have our homes built in New Haven. We didn't even know anything about New Haven. And we've done some really raw deals. Most of them have moved on, but my husband and I couldn't. We didn't have any place else to go. And it is a nice place to live, and we love New Haven. We've had several encounters with the water. We've been told not to even use our water. And for the most part, we cook with it. So my question is, how do we resolve this water problem? Because it is a problem. And we don't know what to do. If you want to know why most of the New Haven people are not here that live in Amherst, it's because we don't know when to speak, when not to speak. We don't know what's going on. We don't know anything about this. From what I see, nobody's talking but the committee here. This is not fair to us. We've been jilted and jilted and jilted. And again, if you want to know why the people in New Haven that live in Amherst aren't here, it's because we don't know what's going on. We hear you guys talking and laughing, and that's it. My husband and I had no idea what this meant. We don't know what these papers mean. That's not fair to us. Thank you.
Call from the floor.
I was gonna say more, but you said you scared me.
You have to agree.
I'm sorry?
You have to talk to him and agree.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, that's why that bald spot is getting bigger up there. That's real bad every day. Call from the floor.
Are you the right people we talk to concerning our exorbitant water bill? No matter how much we pay, we can never pay our water bill off. We pay $100, they send a new bill for $200. We pay $200. The other day, they sent us a bill for $300. And when we go and say, well, is there a way we can make an arrangement to pay? No. No. You have, if you don't pay the entire water bill, we shut your water off. When I had my grandchildren there, the toilets wouldn't flush. At night, the scent was overwhelming to make my children sick. And New Haven said, no arrangements. And so now we're facing a thing of I'm 70, I just turned 75 on October the 3rd. My wife is 77. And they go up on our association fee to where we would like make your choice of the association fee, put you out of your home, or pay the water bill. If you don't pay the water bill, and we're trying to figure out why is this that it appears some conspiracy to say you paying your bills, let's go up a little higher and keep your nose just above the financial line of sinking. We almost went into bankruptcy or whatever you want to call it because the water bill cost us to fall behind in our house note for the very first time. Now we paid the $100 and something last week or week before last. And right here in New Haven, they said, is your new water bill $300? And it's like, you're not going to make it up. You're not going to pay it up to where you can make ends meet. And we don't understand. They came to the house and said, we're taking this water meter out. Well, the house is brand new. You just built it and a new water meter, and then they said, we're taking this one out. And they put in a water meter that runs like a taxi cab meter. And so we can't keep up with it. We come here and say, well, can we get some resolution? Can somebody say something to us about this? No, nobody can say anything to us. At least somebody here should say, here's a resolution. Try this program or try that to not be put out, because the association people, when they're getting ready to go up on our association fees. You know, with the light company, the gas company go up on you, they go up like 2%, 3%, maybe 5%. The association fee people go up 50%. If you're paying $1 a month association, when they go up to $1.50. That's not fair to anybody. We said, well, okay, we'll sell the house and two old senior citizens, we'll move out of New Haven. And come to find out, we can't afford to move. The water bill going up, the association fees going up, and we can't afford to move from where we live right now. So what are they gonna do? Set us out on the street, and we have paid, we've been here for 20 years with no problem, except we can't keep up with the cost of living, and we come and say, somebody tell us, why can't we pay our water bill? No matter how much we send in, it's not enough. And we know now on the 28th of October, they're going to come and shut the water off. We live right over there across the street. They're going to shut the water off. And we don't know what to do. We want somebody to say, well, no, they won't shut the water off. You're living here in New Haven, you pay your bills, and we won't let this happen to you.
Thank you.
Somebody say something to us. Thank you.
I just like to say one more thing, and I'm sure everybody here can hear. This is a United States veteran, Air Force, military. And he can't even get a dime. Something's real wrong. Something is really wrong. And I'm very upset about it, to the point where I've had to have 2 brain surgeries, and he's had back surgery.
And foot surgery.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Call from the floor. Call from the table.
How did our first garbage week go?
First garbage week was perfect. I mean, there was absolutely no complaints. I think they were done in the village by 2 o'clock. I heard no complaints. I drove the village and I just gotta get used to those big green trucks.
Can't miss them.
Oh my God, you can't miss them.
The only negative thing I heard was
Oh,
something
shit.
that, was something that was fully addressed, which was their bin was too heavy, and it was addressed in the brochure. And so they called GFL, and GFL said, for that size, our guys can't lift it, it has to be this weight, and fair enough, they're unwrapping campers.
For all intents and
Thank you.
purposes, on President Dilbert's favorite platform of social media, I actually saw nothing but good compliments about the trash service. And on top of that, my personal view, because I was working from home on that day, not only did I see the garbage trucks go by, but I also saw them go by with pickup trucks. Might have been a route supervisor or somebody that was personally driving around and making sure that everything was tip top. So
There were 5 different trucks that went through.
I was pleasantly surprised.
And for the first time in a year, our garbage cans ended up back in our driveway instead of in the street, so I was real happy about that.
Call from the table. A motion in order to go into closed session.
I move that we go into closed session at 8:44.
Support.
It's been probably moved and supported that we go into closed session at 8:44. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
This would be a roll call.
Oh, roll call, that's right. I'm sorry. Madam Clerk? Roll
Trustee
call.
McCauley?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Hollinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore? Yes. Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Dilbert?
Yes.